Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class. I'm Craig Parry. I'm here to talk to you about my 3 tips to make you a better drone photographer. Okay, so over the next 15 minutes, it's going to be around about that. We're going to discuss, you'll discover great results are only a few settings away. Okay, so it's not going to be a difficult or complex formula to get better images out of your drone, but I'll keep this as a saved video so you guys can go back on it and have a look back at it again if you get stuck. Also, when in today's episode, I'll be talking about auto exposure bracketing. Now, at the end of the episode, I'm going to actually record a demo for you guys to, and I'll put that on my YouTube channel. And I'll share the link to my YouTube channel on my Facebook, just so you can get your head around on how to edit multiple exposures. But we'll talk about that later. And you can really start improving, your photography with your drone straight away. As soon as you implement these critical settings on your drone, then the sky's the limit. Okay, here we go. So, drone photography. I've been a drone photographer now since 2013. I was lucky to start early. A friend of mine, Toby, he would help me create these drones that they were remote control helicopters, and then all of a sudden the multi-copter bladed copters came in, and they were still a little bit temperamental. The computers on them would sometimes fail and you would lose an expensive camera in the sky. But over time, it was really worth that sort of R&D. I did a few jobs back in 2014 with the Travel Channel and Discovery Channel, which is exciting. So I get to go to Alaska, got to go to Vanuatu, film volcanoes. So it was nice to be involved in the drone era on its early infancy. So yeah, and from there, I've just implemented my own drone business, which is Aerial Byron Aerials. So I've got my team of people working there as well, and I've done multiple photography film campaigns with the drone, Swiss Vitamin TV commercials, Tag Watch commercials. Going back to the Travel Channel and Discovery, it was a lot of their reality TV shows where helicopters would be too expensive to bring in. But yeah, I've done multiple shows, and I continue to work heavily with drones, not just photography. So it is a exciting medium to work on. Okay, so the exact techniques that I'm going to discuss now has helped most of my students in the past excel with their drone photography. They're not advanced skills, and those advanced skills is something that I'm going to sort of grow on. I've got a masterclass coming out in April, and I'll have more advanced sort of techniques on how to take better images there. But these will get you started, and it's super easy. And it'll allow you to become more confident in the sky. I know being a drone photographer is daunting sometimes, especially when you're starting out, looking at your drone and think it's going to fall out of the sky, or you lose orientation, and you just got to calm down, let go of the controller, make sure you still hold the controller, but just let go of the sticks and just let it sort of stabilize, and then get your bearings, and then look at the viewfinder. Try and work out where you are. A lot of the DJI drones, or all the DJI drones, have a GPS location device on them. So you know where the drone is in the sky. There's a map that you can pull up, and the drone will actually have an arrow where it needs to travel to get back to you. So it's pretty clever. And you can also do a return to home quite easily. So don't stress out too much. Okay, one of my biggest secrets, using auto bracketing. Now, I'm going to go over in the next couple of pages about what that means and how it makes your images better. And it'll give you more color and detail in your photos as well. Okay, so do you relate to some of these? I know I did when I first started taking shots with my drone. Can't get enough color. There isn't enough detail in your shadows. The sky's too bright. Your images are grainy and noisy. Okay, so they're big stumbling blocks we all come across, and by implementing the auto bracketing on your landscape photos will make a big difference. Okay, so the technique that I'm going to add will obviously, like I've said, will add more color to your photos. It'll balance the dark and bright areas, which I talked about with the shadows and highlights. It'll reduce noise and grain, and your images will be much sharper and vivid. So it's a win-win with all that. So the new way forward, select AEB in your camera settings or your drone settings. So this style of photography is not limited, obviously, to just drone. We can do it with a tripod and a normal camera. In the DJI system, in the camera settings, there is an AEB, auto bracketing area, and you can choose between 3 and 5 images in a sequence. I like to choose 5 because it just gives me that extra dynamic range or extra information in those stacked photos to get the highlights that I'm after and the shadow detail. All right, so make sure you're shooting in RAW, which is a big one, and this is something I teach in my photography classes. I try and move my students out of shooting JPEG into RAW. This just gives you much more range to move on the photos once you've taken them. So if you've overexposed them or underexpose them, and you can move those colors and light a little bit more than you could with a JPEG. Okay. And then Lightroom. So this is what I discussed at the start of the workshop or start of today's episode, is the Lightroom mechanics of actually merging the photos together is super simple. And I'll make a video on my YouTube and you guys can have a look at how I do that. And it's very simple, not overwhelming at all, and it'll make you make your images so much better. Okay, so here's an example. I've got these 2 images here. The one on the left is just a normal frame, just one frame from my camera. And the other one has 5 exposures attached to it. So you can see the detail through the trees. You can see the color in the sky, the sun setting, it's not blown out. So simple, there's the proof. It works really well. Like I said, not just for drone, but also for a land-based camera. It does a really good job of your landscape images. The only setback to doing bracketing images, if you've got a moving subject in the sky or on the water or on the land, it's not going to pick it up because that subject moves, and because we're taking more than one frame, as that subject moves through the frame, it's going to damage the image. Okay. All right. So the image is well exposed. It's easy to do, obviously. You'll have more color in your images, and your landscape images will have a more pronounced dynamic range, which I discussed, which is the detail in the highlights and the shadows, and it'll just bring that image to life. Now, number 2, my second biggest, is using a polarizing filter. This is something that I swear by, especially when I shoot a lot of water, a lot of sky. You really want to have that polarizer on. It'll cut out all the glare. Okay, so these are things that I related to. Like I said, you're getting too much reflection on the water or the sand. You can't see animal or people underwater. Your highlights are ruining the image, and it's washed out. So it's really important that you chuck that filter on. The good news, just by simply adding that out, you'll cut out all the harsh glare from the water, the sand, any sort of area that has high reflection, like the sky, the roof of a house, anything like that. You can shoot in the middle of the day, which is another bonus. Most of the time, shooting in the middle of the day is a little bit daunting, but if you've got the polarizing filter on, it can help you a little bit as well. You'll get better blues as well. So if you shoot, I'll show you an image after this. If you shoot the ocean with a polarizer on, your blue hues will be a lot stronger, and also your trees, the green will be a lot stronger as well. Okay, and you'll get more definition in the clouds. Now there's a new way forward. Purchasing from the camera shop or the DJI shop online. It's super easy. Some of your Mavics and Phantoms, the Phantoms will have a screw-on polarizer. The Mavics, I think, clip-on. I use, which I'll show you now. This is the Inspire 3. This is DJI's flagship camera, and this is the drone. This is the camera that sits under the X9. So this is my workhorse. This one here, and this one, the ND, will just go right on the end of the lens there. All right, so, and they're not expensive either. Here's an example. So you can see on the image on the left, without the polarizer on, you'll see that glare in the top part of the frame. And then on the right with the polarizer, you can see through the water and there's no reflection. It's a dramatic improvement, especially when you shoot in high bright areas. It's simple and it'll create detail in your landscape images, and the color will increase as well as the glare is reduced. There we go. Playing with shadows. Now this is a favorite of mine. I love getting creative with shadows, and a lot of people have asked me in the past how I do it. It's super simple, and I'll teach you now. Your shadows, if you've tried it before, you know your shadows aren't symmetrical. They're long, drawn out, or they're tiny, so you don't have that sort of appeal of having the person's shape or the animal's shape on either the sand or the dirt. You can't get the defined shadow, which I spoke about, and you always ask, how did they get that shot? So here is the answer. It's a simple technique. I do it a lot on my straight down images. It'll allow you to get creative with landscapes, and photography competitions love it as well. So if you can get creative with your straight downs with shadow play, you can surprise the judges and hopefully get in the finals. Who knows? And here's the way forward. So the best way to do it is to get a friend and get them on the beach, or get them on an open area where a shadow is defined when the sun's out. So a grassy paddock won't work, but somewhere like dirt, a white concrete like a basketball court is fantastic as well. The trick is to get up early. Okay, so when you get up early, you'll get up at sunrise, you'll get the person on location, you'll put the drone up, and then you'll have a look when you look straight down at how the shadow looks. The shadow, obviously, at sunrise will be extremely long and drawn out, but as the morning progresses, the shadow will reduce, and there's that magic 30 to 20 minute area where you can try and get the shot. It moves really quickly. You'll be surprised how fast the sun moves. And you've also got to make sure that the sun is parallel to the person, so you get that nice symmetrical look. The person can just move around to where they need to be to get that nice symmetrical look as well. And when you find that frame, have a great time and enjoy the day. And what I tend to do, I did a job with an architect on this project of getting a symmetrical shadow, and I did the recce the day before, which means I'll go out and test it. Then the next day, I will go out and get the shot. And that's what you guys can do. You can have a bit of a play around the first day, work out the time and the area, and then go out there and get your award-winning shot. All right. Here's an example. People riding their bike on the left, and on the right, some pelicans. So like I said, you can play with animals or people. It's a really fun way. It's effective, making straight down shots stand out if you're bored of doing drone shots. I know I can be sometimes, and it's nice just to mix it up with a little bit of creativity using shadow play. You can get creative with people, animals, and subjects and props, and it's fun. I have a great time doing it, and I always try and think of new and creative ways of capturing shadow play. All right, that's it, guys, for my workshop today. And I'm going to leave my Facebook open and answer any questions you guys have about today's episode. I will also be going over questions in the future. So this will be recorded and left on my Facebook for anyone to sort of watch again. Like I said too, I'll be making a YouTube channel I'll be making a video on my YouTube channel about the auto bracketing, just so it's a little bit clearer for you guys and how to do it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to promote as well, I've got a masterclass coming up later this year. If you guys want more information about it, make sure you sign up there at my link. I left it in the comments as well, but I would love to show you more about what I'm doing, and the more information I can give you guys about photography, the better. I love teaching. Thank you very much for showing up, and have a lovely day. Thank you.